Hey guys, the pile of information is adding up, and therefore, again, I'm making another video and continuing to expose Tim Ballard and Jim Caviezel. And let's watch this first clip, and we'll discuss it afterwards.
This is what I was born to do. It's like some people enjoy climbing Mount Everest, and this is kind of the Mount Everest of filmmaking, and it's worth dying for.
Are you afraid you might die?
Could happen.
Because, I mean, you were struck by lightning during the filming of The Passion of the Christ.
The film has to be finished before I can die. I'll be good.
Okay. Who's paying for this movie to come about?
I think Jim's. Aren't you footing the bill? A great group of people have come together to invest in this production. Some of them, the Carlos Slim family is involved.
Really?
From Mexico. JP, John Paul DeJoria.
Fox has helped distributing it.
Really?
Yeah, Fox, Century Fox.
And for the folks who don't know who Carlos Slim is, tell them who he is.
He's one of the wealthiest men in the world. Telecommunications in Mexico, Latin America. His son Patrick is the real the point of contact for that. He's very passionate about what we're doing and fighting trafficking. And then there's several other groups that have come in to invest in this picture, and it's the people that have invested in it are true believers in what we're doing, and they are this is not just a movie, it's a movement, and they want to continue pushing that movement forward.
Yeah, because you guys are only expanding in
That's right.
your operations.
Yeah, we're a nonprofit. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, and we our machine is fueled by the kindness and the charity of people who will help.
Just with doTERRA today.
Yeah, doTERRA, for example, Utah-based doTERRA, they're probably our biggest corporate sponsor. We're just there all afternoon. Mm-hmm. We're doing amazing things with their help.
Who's paying for this movie to come about?
A great group of people have come together to invest in this production. Some of them, the Carlos Slim family is involved.
Many people are opposed to the movie Sound of Freedom outright because of the movie's Carlos Slim connection. Many times he's been called the richest man in the world. He has been accused for years of being a billionaire, corrupt Mexican official with direct ties to the Clinton Foundation. He has also been accused in the past of child trafficking himself, murder, and being the biggest drug lord in Mexico, among many other things. In the past, Carlos Slim has worked closely with the Clinton Foundation. The Clinton Foundation has worked with Laura Silsby, the Baptist missionary arrested and convicted for child trafficking in 2010 following the devastating earthquake in Haiti, known as the New Child's Life Refugee Case.
Okay, wait. Let me get this straight. The Sound of Freedom, the people behind it, all the supporters, and the audience are against Clintons because of all the Pizzagate allegations and so forth. But Carlos Slim, the billionaire funder himself, is friends with Clintons? What? And not only that, but friends with Bill Gates? Bill Gates on his official blog shared that he and Carlos Slim are funding each other's projects, and this blog was published a decade ago. And then papist idolaters came and left comments saying that I should do my research before criticizing the film. Well, how about you do your research, because you've clearly missed a thing here and there. These people say that I'm hating on the movie because I'm a controlled opposition, because this Fabian Marta guy, a pervert who organizes sugar daddy parties, and got arrested for child kidnapping, and it turns out he was one of the investors of the Sound of Freedom, the Sound of Freemasonry, that it doesn't mean anything because he's just one guy out of thousands of people who invested in this film. First of all, it wasn't a few $100s that he's invested. And secondly, do you want me to believe that God is for a movie that has sugar daddy perverts and Mexican drug cartels, gangsters as investors, and Freemasons as actors? Really? Do you truly believe this? I mean, by all means, if you want to be deceived, the Lord will allow it. He will not force you into salvation, but people with eyes wide open see what's going on here, see what kind of division is taking place in order to bring out a new system, order out of chaos.
Guys, it will never cease to amaze me how far the godless leftist media will go to run interference for human traffickers. They're throwing everything at me right now. I just saw a post that seems to be trending in certain places saying that I am in favor of putting microchips in children so we can track them. It's complete baloney. I've never weighed in on that. I've never said anything. In fact, I'm very much against anything that would allow the government or others to control children. I just found out yesterday that I'm also apparently involved in trafficking. I run trafficking networks, or that I'm some Mason involved in strange Masonic practices. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop.
Tim Ballard, you're not a Mason? You sure about that? What's with the gang signs then? What's going on here? By the way, being a higher up Mormon, you're pretty much a Freemason and worship the same devil, the so-called light you're constantly talking about in your videos.
Or that I'm some Mason involved in strange Masonic practices. It's not going to stop. Expect every lie. At this point, I have been accused of everything but murder. So I want you just to expect more to come, including probably that I've killed people. Who knows? Everyone a part of the film, including me, but we're not going to let them do that. We're going to force the light into the darkness, force the conversations that in the end will rescue children. Hey guys, I just got word that PragerU dropped a series called Light in the Darkness. It's one we've been working on for several years now. It tells the true story of my fight against child trafficking. Many of you have seen Sound of Freedom, but probably most of you don't know this. There's actually two origin stories to the entire fight against human trafficking. One happened in Cartagena, Colombia, which is depicted in the film, but simultaneous to that, we were going back and forth between Colombia and Haiti. And what happened in Haiti is the focus of Light in the Darkness. What happened in Haiti explains why some of you know that I've adopted 2 children from Haiti. So watch that. It's a great compliment to Sound of Freedom and rounds out the entire story. So go to PragerU.com to get the app, and you can watch the trailer that I'm going to post right here. Thanks. And it was an intel gathering mission, and we gathered the intel we needed. And on our way out, the traffickers who brought the kids to us to be medically cleared, they themselves were, served by this medical clinic. But then when they were done, they decided, why not just kill them and take their cars and take their money and take everything they have, because there's no repercussion for us. There's no legal system that could hurt us. And so they surrounded us. And so we had nothing. It was just us and them. Us with nothing, them with 400 weapons pointed at us. And I didn't know what to do. And so I did something that was not necessarily tactically sound, but I felt I should. I went into one of our cars. I closed the door. I pulled out my tattered copy, my missionary copy of the Book of Mormon. I just held it. And I thought of every miracle story of the Book of Mormon, every angel story, because that's what we needed. We needed an angel. We needed a miracle. And I remember consciously thinking to myself, is this it? Am I gonna leave my wife a widow? Am I gonna leave my children without a father? And then I remembered this scripture. The scripture that saved my life from traffickers is Alma chapter 58, verse 11. Yea, and it came to pass that the Lord our God did visit us with assurances that he would deliver us. Yea, insomuch that he did speak peace to our souls, and did grant unto us great faith, and did cause us that we should hope for our deliverance in him. He says that we had been given assurances by God, and that we could have faith in those assurances. And so he knew that none of them would be killed. And I remember thinking to myself, this is a true principle. I had been given assurances of the Lord that this work is to go on. It wasn't going to end right now. I had received those assurances, and so I could put my faith in those assurances. And when I stepped out of the car, I looked up after in this state of prayer and meditation and pondering this scripture, and everyone had gone.
I mean, it don't hurt when you have illustrations proving that higher-ups in Mormonism are basically practicing Freemasons, like that nut Joseph Smith. And 33rd-degree Freemasons worship Lucifer, the light bearer. That's why they desperately say that they want to bring out that light. See any similarities between the movie poster and the Masonic pillars? The Luciferian enlightenment between the two pillars. Why is Jim Caviezel wearing the Crusader's cross on his neck? The Knights Templar's cross? You know who is also a Knights Templar? Jonathan Roumie, the actor who played Jesus in the Chosen series.
Outfit in the post, the advertisement. What is that from? A couple of people mentioned some stuff. So, in that outfit, let me see if I can bring it up here. That was the ad. I'm wearing a mantle and a cross with a little crown on it. That is called a Knight's Cross. 5 years ago, I was knighted by the order, the Sovereign Military Order of the Temple of Jerusalem. I lost my mind there for a second. Essentially, the Knights Templar, which is what that is, are an ecumenical charitable organization. They're officially an NGO, a non-governmental organization recognized by the United Nations.
This is what I was born to do. It's like some people enjoy climbing Mount Everest, and this is kind of the Mount Everest of filmmaking, and it's worth dying for.
Are you afraid you might die?
Could happen.
Because, I mean, you were struck by lightning during the filming of The Passion of the Christ.
The film has to be finished before I can die. I'll be good.
Okay.
About the fifth take, the clouds were so low, the thunder and lightning was the sound of a howitzer. It was so powerful that you could feel the earth move.
Yeah.
And I saw two people that were about as close as these two are to me, and their eyes were looking up and they were watering like they were going to cry. And my hair, I couldn't feel it, and I heard a huge gasp in the audience because they saw something, and I couldn't hear anything. It was like an eye of a storm. If you're in the eye of the storm, your hair could be blowing, it could be 30-knot winds, and I'd never heard the wind blowing. It was silence. 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1, and this light came right down from heaven and lit me up. What people witnessed was an illumination around my body and a fire on the right and left side of my head. And for one moment, I was looking at myself outside my body.
You got struck with lightning.
I was struck by lightning.
And what might be the reason for that lightning strike? Maybe God doesn't want to share his glory with a sinful man, and especially with no Catholic Templar. You see, people have this weird notion, oh wow, he was struck by lightning. Satan didn't want this movie to come out. Why do you forget that maybe it was God that didn't want this blasphemous movie to come out? That some wicked Templar would portray him as he died on the cross, and especially portraying this Catholic Jesus with one-eye symbolism. Because they were portraying the Antichrist and not Jesus. People seem to either forget that or don't know it at all. And it was a traditional Catholic papist Mel Gibson behind the movie. Plus, look how he speaks about Trump being Moses and him being quote-unquote Jesus. Wicked, blasphemous Hollywood puppet this guy is, serving the Vatican and bringing that false light to deceive the masses. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. It's another crusade by the 21st century Templars, Jesuits.
We have to do a lot more, and we got to start with Donald Trump.
What do you mean?
Well, he's got to be in there because he's going to go after the traffickers.
Do you think he understands that?
Oh, he saw the movie last night.
We were with him last night.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Bedminster, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
so
showed-
he's going to be moved to do this, do something. I didn't know that.
Oh,
He was in
he's
tears last night.
This is the new Moses. I mean, I'm still Jesus, but he's the new Moses. This is the new Moses. I mean, I'm still Jesus, but he's the new Moses. Pharaoh, let my children go free.
All right. I did not know that was an impressive screening at Bedminster, I guess.
Yeah.
Eduardo, Jim Caviezel, great to see you again.
Yeah.
Congratulations on all your success. I can't say I'm surprised, but I know how intense you are. And good job.
This is the people's movie. God bless you.
Absolutely. Meanwhile,
Thanks, Americans.
watch Sounds of Freedom in theaters.
To host a screening at Bedminster of the important new film, Sound of Freedom, about the power of faith in overcoming evil, and in particular, the evil of child trafficking. Big problem. We had it down to the lowest number in many years just 4 years ago, and now it's gone through the roof. Even though the fake news media has tried to ignore it, Sound of Freedom has been a national sensation and a colossal success at the box office, really big numbers. Everyone should see it. This is a very important film and very important movie, and it's a very important documentary all wrapped up in one. It's really about an issue that has to be discussed, and I will urge Congress to ensure that anyone caught trafficking children across our border receives the death penalty immediately, and that includes also...
Hey, you know what? Here's a scenario. You haven't shipped your children yet? Why not? You saw The Sound of Freedom, haven't you? What are you, insane? Well, you might as well be a child trafficker yourself. Maybe you should get a death penalty as well, you criminal.
The largest shareholder in the Times is Carlos Slim. Now, Carlos Slim, as you know, comes from Mexico. He's given many millions of dollars to the Clintons and their initiative. So Carlos Slim, largest owner of the paper from Mexico. Reporters at the New York Times, they're not journalists. They're corporate lobbyists for Carlos Slim and for Hillary Clinton.
Thank you all very much. That was incredible. Jim, that was unbelievable. What a job. So, a President Day, it's a possibility. I mean, you made this the hottest movie anywhere in the world, so I think maybe becoming the President of Mexico by comparison, right? So I just wanted to thank you all. That was unbelievable acting, and Tim, what a job you did. I wouldn't want to do it. Somebody's going to do it, and you did, and you did, and you really did. Great combination, beautiful combination. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. It's something that I'm not sure if you're supposed to enjoy or learn. It's a combination, but it's that was a great movie, and I now understand why it's doing so well. It's setting records, by the way. It's beating the biggest movies out. They have some of the big summer blockbusters, and this is knocking the socks off of them, so that's pretty good. I'd love to have your potential. What potential? Anybody want to make a movie? Because I think Jim maybe will be available, but maybe not so long. It is an incredible thing that 2 movies, and you've done others, but 2 movies, 2 of the biggest, I guess the 2 biggest independents ever done. And it was an honor getting to know you. And I even agreed to do a podcast for somebody. Who's that somebody? Is that you, Tim? Well, that's the least I can do, and I look forward to doing it. So I hope everybody had a fantastic time. I did. It's an incredible inspiration.
Wow, heroes. Exposing the child trafficking. Exposing? Oh really? Hey Ballard, you're exposing this pedophile ring, right? What are the names? Spill the beans. Tell us everything. Who are they? What are their connections? And also, why now? Why did he have to wait 5 years before The Sound of Freemasonry was published? Why? Because then the timing wasn't all that great? Because now you have this great technology and everything to chip children? Could that be the reason? I mean, just look at them, at the exposers, at the heroes of our time, looking all slick with suits, meeting Trump, shaking hands, making a whole lot of money with this Freemasonic film, and just traveling around the world giving interviews. It's just a great life. They haven't exposed anything with this movie. It looked like a big Coca-Cola or Pepsi commercial you see on TV. Sick and disgusting actors, including Jesuit Trump.
I want to thank you all for coming out and watching this movie. I'm guessing some of you are feeling sad, maybe overwhelmed, or even a sense of fear, which is understandable. But living in fear isn't how we solve this problem. It's living in hope. It's believing that we can make a difference because we can. But I want to make one thing clear. This movie you just watched isn't about me or Tim Ballard. It's about those kids. You know, Steve Jobs once said, the most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. Abraham Lincoln credited Harriet Stowe when she wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin. This powerful story inspired millions to rise up and fight against slavery. I think we can make Sound of Freedom the Uncle Tom's Cabin of 21st century slavery. This film was actually made 5 years ago and wasn't released till now, with every roadblock that you can imagine being tossed in the way. And the names you see here on the screen took a stand, and they made sure this story could be shown to all of you. And now all of you have the opportunity to continue telling this story. We don't have big studio money to market this movie, but we have you, and the baton has now been passed to you. You are the storytellers that can get people to come see this film in theaters. When you come to a theater, you experience movies differently. There is no pause button, there are no distractions. We all have an experience as we watch the film together as a community. It makes it possible for strong messages like this one to take root. Sound of Freedom is a hero's tale, but I'm not talking about the character I play. It's the heroic brother and sister in this film that work to save each other. They are the true heroes. The most powerful person in this world is the storyteller. Together, we have a chance to make these two kids and the countless children that they represent the most powerful people in the world by telling their story in a way only the cinema can do. For a couple of months, while Sound of Freedom is in theaters, these kids can be more powerful than the cartel kingpins or presidents, or congressmen, or even tech billionaires. We believe this movie has the power to be a huge step forward toward ending child trafficking, but it will only have that effect if millions of people see it. Now, I know it's weird because we're in the theater, but feel free to pull out your phones and scan this QR code. We don't want finances to be the reason someone doesn't see this movie, so Angel Studios boldly has set up a pay it forward program where you can pay for someone else's ticket who might not otherwise see it. If you're able, we invite you to pay it forward by buying a ticket for someone else, or if your budget is tight, share the already available free tickets with as many friends as you can, or do both. Join us and millions of others as we ring Sound of Freedom and hope throughout the world. And just remember this, God's children are not for sale. God's children are not for sale. God's children are not for sale. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see now. I see where this is going. How do you think, how long till they say, okay, listen up everyone, line up and scan your right hands and foreheads for tickets please. Sir, I can't seem to identify your mark with my scanner here. There seems to be a problem. Yeah. Mark of the Beast and the image of the beast. Here we go. And what's with the sad face and low voice of Jim Caviezel all the time? Oh, that's probably because he is so concerned about the kids, right? It's not his natural voice, it's an act. We can simply compare these two clips.
I was coming down the court, and made a pass hit, and we played on one of those tarpon floors.
I know exactly what they are. They're asphalt.
Yeah.
No, they're cement, and there's a little foam, like a half-inch, less than that, and you hurt yourself on this.
And a previous play, a guy slipped on the floor, and there was sweat. So when I threw the pass, I planted my foot. And of course, it hit the tartan spot. It's like AstroTurf.
Yeah.
It just blew up. And so, but during the half times of games and whatnot, we'd be we'd be down or whatnot, and I'd go in and I'd grab some chalk and I'd start impersonating my coach and writing play, and they would laugh, and we'd go out and win.
Wait a second.
So we didn't play outside of summer.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So did you play golf prior to this movie?
No.
Oh, okay. So
I hit around a couple beers or something like that.
Right.
This film undoubtedly is the best film I've done since the Passion of the Christ, and it was enormous challenge. But these are the things that where when the film is over, you don't leave your seat. Your heart's on fire, and you want to do something, and that's why I was called into this business.
You shot it almost 5 years ago, right? It's been done for almost 3 years. So what happened to have us sit here today and talk about a film coming out in a couple of weeks?
I'm going to answer the first part of that, and then you can talk about the studio because you understand that. I'm going to say something I think we keep forgetting to say. Just remember this. You remember this, Jim. The day they chose we're going to start filming. So let's go back to when they're filming in Colombia. I was there twice. I didn't have, it's just to show up and just see what this is like. It's a strange process to watch a movie being made, but I showed up in that first day, and the producer came in and says, the funding fell through.
Oh, come on.
What are you talking about? I'm sitting with Jim Caviezel in a hotel in Bogota, Colombia, about to film, and they said, we don't know if we're going to film on Monday. It was like Saturday. And we're sitting there, remember, we're talking in the patio, like, what is this how the industry works?
It makes our skin crawl. We do talk a lot about politics on this show, and a piece of video that crossed our screens on our cell phones from last Friday was Joe Biden essentially biting a child. You can see it here. We'll pop it up on screen. He's like biting a stranger's kid, like going and nibbling a child. You're a father. I'm a father. I would never let a demented pervert like this anywhere near my children. How dare you touch another person's child like that? And it does speak to sort of an underlying disrespect of children. Whether you
look at the parent though that's sitting there and just admiring him for it. I'd have pushed him off so quick.
What would you do if Joe Biden did that to your child, Jim? What would you do?
The Secret Service would have tackled me because I'd have popped him.
Yeah, because that's a deeply inappropriate way to touch a child, right? You shouldn't put your mouth on a child and bite it.
Yeah, you don't have a right to do wrong, and that's what they've made it. But as far as Christians, we continually are marginalized, but this is no more. There's got to be a new sheriff in town.
Could this new sheriff be the Antichrist? And I have to repeat myself again. Roman Catholics are not Christians.
We have to throw them out. All Christians have to come together, and I don't know if this group of pastors and bishops will do it. I've seen them mostly just sit on their hands. I've lost so much respect for them. And when we did the Passion of the Christ, I saw it. I'm a Roman Catholic, and we had maybe 6 bishops that stood for our film. The rest of them ran. Now, eventually they did come over and support the movie, but they did it when the public did. So they wait until someone else leads. They lead from behind. And I'm tired of it. And so is most of the public. And then this idea of gospel prosperity Bible is crap, because a Christian has to be God's weapon, where he's willing to lose his name, reputation, job, title, even his very life to stand for the truth.
They want to have open borders, and open borders are very dangerous. And as Jim said, when you have open borders and bad elections and a lot of other things, but when you have open borders, you just don't have a country, and that's what we have right now.
I never understood how the wall got politicized. I spent 10 years on that board, as you saw in the film.
Right.
And the Clinton administration built as much of the wall as anyone else had, because we all understood. There was a time when we understood that walls meant security equaled children get rescued. it's their last hope that they might get rescued by trained individuals who the traffickers are forced to take them to that port of entry. And it's so sad that they've politicized this. Why do you think? It's obvious. I've testified before Congress. I testified before then Senator Kamala Harris, who's now the border czar. And I don't think they can claim ignorance. They know what's happening. These children are being abused and brought in. Why do they want open borders? What do they get out of this?
Well, nobody can understand that because it's so obvious. I always was saying when I was campaigning in 2016 and in 2020, two things that work: wheels and walls. They'll never change. You can wheel and a wall. They can be ancient. It doesn't matter. They'll have new forms of computer every week. You come up with a great computer system and it's obsolete in about 2 weeks, but wheels and walls. And they know the walls work, and they have worked. And if we didn't have the walls, we wouldn't have had the record-setting success that we had. I guess there's only one reason, you say, what could it be? Why would they want to have open borders? Why would they not want to complete everything? And maybe they hate our country. Maybe they have ideas for the country that are a lot different than what they should be. But what they've done on the southern border and the borders generally coming into our country, it's not acceptable. And the people of our country aren't going to allow it. And it's incredible. No, there's a great group of people in this country, a vast, vast majority that understand what you're about, understand what you did is so great. And that's why your movie is such a big success. It's an incredible movie. It's really, everything's entertainment. This is much more than entertainment. This is knowledge that can lead to something very important, because it is bad out there. It's nasty out there. When you think, I'm watching some of those scenes in the movie, and I don't know, you would know better than anybody. Do they capture them? Is it actually worse in real life? Or is it actually better in real life? It's probably as bad as it looks. It's probably even worse.
It's as bad or worse, I can promise that. Everything you see happen to those kids in that movie happened to those kids who they depict in that movie.
It's pretty amazing when you see what's happening in our country right now. Our country's going to hell, and we have to stop it.
I'm not a politician. I'm an outsider, but you inspire me to at least think about running for president. I'm still thinking about it. I'm praying about it. I'm asking the people of Mexico to pray for me. I'm fasting, I'm praying, because I want to do God's will. But if the answer is yes, you will know very soon. But if the answer is yes, together we're stronger. We are not just neighbors, we're brothers and sisters. When the good people of Mexico and the good people of America meet, Sound of Freedom happens. We save lives. When the bad people of Mexico and the bad people of America meet, child trafficking happens. Drugs, cartels, cancer, death, the culture of death. We represent the culture of life. Together, we can win. Let's make America and Mexico great together. Let's make America and Mexico free again.
Seems like most people forgot that Operation Warp Speed was signed by Trump's administration. Trump himself gave the orders.
We will not stand for any attacks against Judge Barrett's faith. Anti-Catholic bigotry has absolutely no place in the United States of America. It predominates in the Democrat Party, and we must do something immediately about it, like a Republican win. And let's make it a really big...
And welcome to the festival, families. My name is Mark Wahlberg, and I am so proud to be a part of this awe-inspiring event. Holy Father, we are blessed and graced to be in your presence. Father, welcome to Philadelphia. This is the city of brotherly love, one of my favorite cities in the world. Father, isn't this a great crowd? So listen, I've been very fortunate and haven't done too bad for myself in the film industry, both as an actor and a producer. But I feel most blessed today being on stage with the Holy Father and here with all my fellow Christians. I truly feel like today I could do anything. And I attribute all of my success to my Catholic faith. My faith has given me the ability to be a good father, a good husband, and most importantly, a good person. Faith brings great joy to my life, and my life brings me closer to my faith. Wow. That right there was truly the voice of an angel. But then he whispered in my ear that he loved the movie Ted. And I told him that was not appropriate for a boy of his age. Holy Father, please forgive me. I've always hoped that the good Lord has a sense of humor.
Pope Francis was in a happy and upbeat mood.
And there's Jim Caviezel, sitting in the front row before the Pope like a good loyal Catholic.
A veces vuelan los platos. And sometimes plates can fly. And children bring headaches. No voy a hablar de la suegra. I won't speak about mother-in-laws. But in families, there is always light.
Well, that is all for today. I felt that I had to continue with the Sound of Freedom topic, just because this movie is not going away anytime soon. At least I don't think so. It's too big at this point and I see a lot of deceived people. So I needed to get the message out, and if you like my work, please press the like button to push this video through the algorithm. And please consider supporting me on Patreon or PayPal so I could continue making this type of content. I would like to reach my goal on Patreon if possible, or something near it, just to cover my expenses. And those of you who have donated, a huge thank you. Okay, I'll be going now. Hope you enjoyed these beautiful songs that I put at the end. See ya, guys.